All right.
And it's been quite an upgrowing. Yes, Stephen and I first talked back in December, so it's been a long time to get here. And one of the things, Ralph, can you hear me? What? Okay, keep talking. Actually, want to see if you guys have some questions of Stephen. I think we saw some questions that he pre-answered, but I think he needs to get to know us as well. I think it's important for him to get to know us a little better too. So I'm going to start this off and maybe warm you guys up a little bit with a question. And the question is, who here in the church has a church office but doesn't get paid? Oh, it's not you, Arlene. Bob Corbin, yeah. Bob, can you kind of say, the other phrase was, but he's worth every penny. Wow. Okay? I think, okay, we all know what Bob does. Okay. Now let's hear a question for Stephen. Somebody ask Stephen a question. What? Where were you born?
I was born in Springfield, Missouri. My family was living in Monette, Missouri at the time, but yeah, I don't know why they didn't have me in the Monette Hospital. A couple of my friends were born there, I think, but yeah. Okay. 10 a.m. I was overdue, and my mom says that, they said, all right, we need to induce labor. So they gave her a shot or something like that. And then it's like, well, it'll be a while. And so then she rang for the nurse or whatever. And it's like, all right, it's time. It's like, no, it takes much longer. No, it's time. And so the doctor basically walked in the room. It's like, oh, here you go. That's the story I've been told.
Question for us now. Which Sunday school class is the best in the church? Pardon, I can't hear anybody. Oh, there isn't a good one? What? Come on, you guys. They're all very good, yes. Oh. The children's classes, you bet. Yeah. Angie, good one. Okay, I have a question for Stephen. Where's your favorite restaurant in Ponca City?
Yeah, this kind of a trick question. It's like, where I've eaten the most. When I first started coming here, we ate at Perkins pretty much every meal. And then we found the Perk somehow along the way, and so that we started going to the Perk quite a bit. I think by now, I've eaten at the Perk more than Perkins.
Perkins, okay.
Yeah, but also, what was the Rusty Barrel Supper Club or something like that?
Right.
It's pretty good place. Yep.
And we did Perkins for diet considerations primarily.
Yeah, just scrambled eggs and breakfast potatoes. I can eat that all day long.
Right. But the Rusty Barrel, he finally, yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, Ron.
Do you follow the lectionary, or do you tend to have topics that you...
Both. Most generally, I follow the lectionary reading cycle. Every once in a while, I will deviate from that some.
Okay. I'm getting orders. I wanted to know if follow the lectionary or other. So, any other questions of Stephen? I'm going to come back at you with one.
You guys have heard so many rumors about me from everybody else that you don't have any more questions, right?
I guess not. Jerry.
How's your house situation coming along?
Oh, my house I'm enjoying it. Every time it rains, I walk around looking at all the corners and the ceilings, making sure there's no water coming in. So far, it hasn't happened, so I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, somebody was asking me about that this morning, and I said, it's fine for me, but I think if someone else lived there, they probably would want it to be a little more settled. But I'm happy. And I was telling Stan earlier in the week, it's like I need to start getting some of these piles out of the floor that I've been stepping over because they're going to become normal for me, and then I just won't get around to it. So, yeah.
One thing he's worried about is when to replace the carpet. So that's kind of a do it now or do it later.
Yeah, still
sort of
thinking
thing.
about that.
Yeah. Okay, which one of us here was born the farthest away?
Ooh.
I was born in Laramie, Wyoming, but I'm not sure that's going to get any prize.
International births?
We do have some international members, but they're not here. Anybody? What? Where?
Born in Rochester, New York.
Okay, I think you got it. Rochester? Oh, New York City?
It's not.
Okay.
It is Rochester 6 hours north.
Oh, yeah, Doug's New York. Yeah, that's right. Staten Island, New York, yeah. Anybody else? Who's born closest? Okay. Okay.
So I came here from a town called Fayette, Missouri, which is what I call central Missouri. It is between Kansas City and St. Louis. There is quite a bit of Missouri that goes north of St. Louis and Kansas City. It's just not many people think much about it. And so there were a lot of people in that congregation that were born, excuse me, a block and a half from the church on the town square. Used to be where the doctor's office was, and now it's a physical rehabilitation place, a physical therapy center. But on the upper floor, that's where a lot of the members of the congregation were born, up in that office up there. Yeah.
Another Stephen question. Yes. No, what? Oh, woodworking. Yeah.
Questions about woodworking?
Woodworking.
Excuse me. I got a dry throat today. Yeah, that's something that I enjoy doing, and I haven't been able to do for quite a while. It's one of those things where I've always had either the time or the money, but never both at the same time. And so now I'm kind of getting all of my things together. My tools have really been in storage for the last 3 years plus, longer than that, yeah. So 4 years almost, 3.5. And so my interest really is in making guitars, and I've made a couple of electric guitars, and I've kind of got an acoustic guitar in process, and it's been in process for years, but I hope to sort of get back on that. And so as soon as if anybody needs boxes, I've got some spare boxes from moving. So as soon as I get all that cleared out and decide what I'm doing inside, then I'll sort of get that space organized and do that, yeah.
How many of us have seen the little concert on YouTube that Stephen was? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yes. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Habitat. Okay. Oh, that was another question, Charles, that I had. Who's the hardest worker of the Tuesday group? Just say again. Okay, has to do with donuts. Arlene had a comment. Who was it? Okay, Arlene's the hardest worker.
Yeah, they were saying that I don't like donuts, which is a lie. Donuts don't like me. Yeah, it's one of those things. There's lots of foods that I really enjoy, but yeah, in the last 6 months I've learned that I do much better if I limit the things that I eat.
Right.
Yeah.
A hint. A hint on what he likes.
Oh, for food? Yeah, eggs and potatoes. I eat a lot of just chicken and Rice Krispies with almond milk. Potatoes, not sweet potatoes. Oh man, I used to eat sweet potatoes all the time, but I can't eat those anymore. Carrots, yeah, and then
Strawberry smoothies.
Strawberries, yeah. There's some fruits I can eat, some I can't. I don't know. It's kind of common. So just yeah, don't worry about it. I'll always take care of my own food, I guess. It's just easier that way. You know, back to the woodworking thing. You know, I've done some. I don't even know how to describe the realm of carpentry I was in. So when I was coming down here in my truck, I noticed, I can't remember the name of the the town. Somewhere along the road, there's a Will Rogers Center or something like that, like a Claremore. Yeah, so the Claremore has some kind of event center or something going on. Like, yeah, I installed a lot of doors in that place back in the 90s. So when that was new, I think it was an indoor riding arena. And so all the hollow core metal doors, I installed most of those and the closers and panic bars and stuff like that. Worked at some schools in Oklahoma as well, doing door work and installing bathroom partitions and things of that nature. I've installed cabinets and entryway doors a little bit.
Do you contract out?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we do have cabinets at Habitat, I think. Ron, do you play in a band?
It's been a long time. Once upon a time, yes, I played in a band. Our original name was The Keep, and we recorded a couple of, self-recorded CDs. Not like we went to some fancy studio or something. We just kind of did ours, and that was just when people were starting to be able to do that themselves. And so we knew a guy that had some equipment and did that. That was when I was in college, and then I worked with a couple of guys from that same group in another incarnation in late 90s.
Cool.
What I found is that most generally in the realm of the music industry, I don't like the people. I mean, that's sad. I love music, I really do. And so I worked at this company called Taylor Guitars. They manufacture sort of nice mass-produced acoustic guitars. And so I worked there for about a year, and really a lot of good people that I met and everything. But when it came to the workings of the music industry and playing at concerts and clubs and stuff like that, I didn't fit with that group of people. And
so it was a personality thing, or what? No, not
values.
Not your personality.
I would say it's
their personality.
I would say it's a bit of a values thing. There's a lot of machismo, a lot of ego that goes along with that, and of course a fair amount of drinking and drugs. And I've never drank or used drugs or smoked, and so I really sort of didn't fit in with that. And so I just kind of walked away from it. I mean, not saying that I would have been successful or something like that, but I didn't find a niche in that. And so when I worked at Taylor Guitars, I worked there, like I said, about a year, and they fired me, and they were making some changes in the structure of the department, and so they said that it was not really firing, but it sure felt like it. But after that, the state of California requires that if you're to receive unemployment benefits, that you have to go through a certain amount of education to maintain that income. One, you have to look for a certain number of jobs and apply for every week and do that stuff. You have to do some resume writing classes, some interviewing classes, and they want you to do vocational discernment so that you don't end up in a job that you're just going to quit or get fired from again because it's not really what you need to be doing in life. And so I spent about 3 months sort of reading what color's your parachute or whatever, and doing all the other things that they had me doing, and praying and all that stuff, and ended up being a pastor. so it worked out.
One of the things we learned about Stephen is does not like wine or liquor at church events. So that's really going to cramp the inquirer's class style significantly, but I think we can deal with it.
So I was involved in a young adult group at one point, and it was, I wouldn't say I was the leader of it. It was just that there was nobody else doing it, so I kind of organized some events, and me and another person from the church, and we went out to a little Mexican restaurant down the street from the church one night, and one of the couples that was there, the husband was like, well, who's going to be the first one to, order a drink, it's got that. And so people ordered some drinks and stuff, and there was another couple at the table that were in recovery. Man, it was hard for them. They felt very uncomfortable. They felt, it was not a good situation for them. And I didn't know any better. And so afterwards, the pastor of the church told me, he's like, hey, I heard that some people order drinks, and I was like, yeah, I didn't know quite what was going on with that. And he said, well, because we have so many people in our community that are in recovery, and we want to be sensitive to their reality, we just don't have alcohol and anything going on with the church, whether that be a wedding that somebody's, coming in because, it's just so if it's a church event, we're not having alcohol. That allows all people to participate comfortably, and so that was a good lesson for me to learn, and I think it's a valuable sensitivity to hold on to. Now, me personally, not drinking, I don't. That's not necessarily the reason, but seeing the look of anguish on their faces of the people who are really struggling with that, and they were just incredibly uncomfortable. So that's kind of where I come down on that.
Okay. Barbara, yes.
What brought you to Oklahoma?
Stan.
What?
Yeah. So
what brought Stephen to Oklahoma personally?
What brought me to Oklahoma? And it wasn't Oklahoma. I didn't. It was this community. So I had my profile in circulation. The last position I was at for almost 3 years, and it wasn't supposed to be long. I was an interim pastor. I was there to help them with their transition work. Their previous pastor had been there like 24 years. So we thought I'd probably be there a year, maybe a year and a half, and then all the coronavirus stuff that happened really put a delay in that. I ended up being there for almost 3 years. And the interim work was rewarding and engaging. I could continue doing that without problem, but there are some things in life that I want that are more easily achievable if you're in one location, and not having to move around your bandsaw, table saw, drill press, all that stuff, that's bothersome, and other things as well. And so I had it in my profile that I'm happy to do another interim position. My preference would be for a settled position if I can find one that I feel would be a good fit for me. And there are plenty of profiles out there. Usually between 20 and 30 churches searching at any given time. And no offense to any other congregation, but most of them I didn't really have an interest in. I did have a conversation with a couple of others, but it wasn't really working out. Your regional minister contacted me a couple of times for a couple of different churches. I looked at them and I was like, that doesn't really seem like it works. And I wasn't really interested in compromising. I don't want to get into a situation that is uncomfortable for me and would be, uncomfortable for the congregation. So I hope in my profile was pretty clear about who I was, what I would bring, what my values are, and in the profile from your congregation, I really felt like I had a possibility for seeing how things went. Your community garden, your friendship bikes, your friendship feast, you guys are doing a lot in the community. The town itself seems to be pretty nice. And then the first time I came down to visit, then it just really reinforced a lot of that. My conversations with the search team were really positive. And yeah, I can't say that it's a perfect match made in heaven or anything, but I feel very comfortable here. And then Stan and I were driving from the church over to Ruth and Jerry's house for dinner. And I don't remember if I told you about this or if I acknowledged it at the time. I don't know. But we were driving down the road, and I was just like, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so I left it. If they decide that I'm a good fit for the congregation, then I will do that. And in part, it took, me sort of getting out of the way. I don't know quite how to explain that, but just sort of allowing it to happen, and not to say that I didn't discern the context and everything and take it very seriously, but yeah, I just needed to allow it to unfold as it did naturally, and if it didn't work out, it would have been okay too, but I'm really happy that it did.
Good.
Stan's jokes didn't offend you ever?
No.
I didn't say that. The question was, Stan's jokes didn't offend you.
You're right. Let's move this topic along a little bit here. One thing about that ride to Jerry and Ruth's house, you feel like if you have an interview and you're doing a search process, silence is not good. That's your feeling. You need to keep the conversation going and talking and all that sort of thing. And we'd had a busy day of it, but that particular ride to Jerry and Ruth's house, we were both pretty quiet. So now I know what now I know what Stephen was thinking. And sometimes the quiet times are the absolute best times, and apparently that was one of those times. So
yeah,
okay.
I feel very comfortable here. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's a little surprising for me that you have all been very welcoming so far and supportive. Frances helped me out with getting a house. I gave her a wish list, like, this is what I'm looking for. I said, I want a 2-car garage, more would be better. And then the other things were kind of, whatever, that's sort of the priority. And so I bought a home with a 3-car detached garage, and so I got my workspace and I got a place for my car. And it's 7 blocks from here. It's very convenient. I'm enjoying it.
Stephen said he wanted a garage with an attached house.
Yeah, the 3-car garage with a detached house is what I bought. Yeah.
Detached house. Yeah. Any other questions you can think of? We need to. Yeah, Tanya.
You went to Claremont School of Theology. Where did you go for your undergrad?
Undergrad question.
Yep, I have a Bachelor of Arts in Geography from the University of Missouri, Columbia. And my main interest was cultural geography. I took a lot of anthropology classes, a lot of history classes. And I think if I'd filled out the right paperwork and paid a little extra, I probably could have gotten some minor classifications in those too, but what would that, it doesn't matter. So Claremont School of Theology is where I went to seminary. It's supported by the Disciple Seminary Foundation, which is in Southern California. And actually they've expanded, so the kind of Western United States, the Disciple Seminary Foundation.
Okay. Anything else, guys? I think we're adjourned. Stephen, any other comments? What question did we not ask you that we should have?
Oh, I don't know. You can ask it later.
Okay.
Yeah. We will have a service of installation at some point. It hasn't been scheduled yet. We don't know sort of how that's going to work out. Okay. So.
Can we have a dinner later too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah. We'll see.
Okay. Very good. Thank you all. I think we're done. Yeah.